He ruled Hollywood, aviation, and Vegas, then vanished into madness. Howard Hughes built a fortune worth billions, but died alone, emaciated, and surrounded by mystery. Fake wills, secret heirs, and vanished wealth followed. How does a man that rich simply disappear? Number 1. Inheriting a fortune at 18 and doubling it in Hollywood. Howard Hughes Jr. was born in 1905 in Houston, Texas. His father, Howard Sr., was an inventor who patented the two-cone rotary drill bit, revolutionizing oil drilling and founding Hughes Tool Company in 1909. When Howard Sr. died in 1924, young Hughes inherited 75% of the company and was declared an emancipated minor. His net worth was close to $1 million, over $16 million today, before he could legally drink. But Hughes didn't want to run the tool company. He moved to Los Angeles and poured millions into filmmaking. His most famous early project, Hell's Angels, 1930, was a World War I epic. He insisted on reshooting it from silent to sound midway through production, hired real World War I aces, and crashed 4 planes during filming. The budget ballooned to $4 million, equivalent to over $60 million today, making it the most expensive film ever made at the time. He dated Jean Harlow, Bette Davis, and Katharine Hepburn, later owning RKO Pictures. But with his growing control over the studio and actresses' contracts, was he a visionary or a controlling egomaniac who turned people into puppets? Let us know what you think. Number 2. The Sky King, breaking records and building warplanes. Obsessed with flight, Hughes designed and piloted the Hughes H-1 racer, setting a world speed record of 352 miles per hour in 1935. In 1938, he flew around the globe in 91 hours, smashing previous records and earning a Congressional Gold Medal. His company, Hughes Aircraft, became a top military contractor, producing electronics and guided missiles. Though it started as a passion project, by the 1950s it earned hundreds of millions annually. Still, Hughes refused to attend meetings, relying on memos. Was he truly a genius, or was the legend inflated by others as he withdrew from reality? Number 3. The $300 million Spruce Goose that flew for just 60 seconds. Hughes' most infamous aviation project was the H-4 Hercules, nicknamed the Spruce Goose, though it was mostly birch. Built during World War II, it was intended to carry 750 troops or a tank, but wartime delays and material shortages slowed production. When it finally flew on November 2, 1947, it traveled just 1 mile at 70 feet altitude, with Hughes at the controls. The cost? Over $23 million, about $300 million today. Congress wanted answers, and Hughes testified, "I'll leave this country and never come back, and I mean it, if they try to stop me." Was this the pinnacle of innovation or an ego trip taken too far? Number 4. Buying Vegas to escape the mob. In 1966, Hughes moved into the top 2 floors of the Desert Inn, refusing to leave. When management pressured him, he simply bought the hotel. He soon purchased 5 more, the Sands, Frontier, Castaways, Landmark, and Silver Slipper, spending over $300 million. This wasn't just eccentricity. Hughes wanted to clean up Vegas, pushing out mafia figures like Mo Dalitz and replacing mob ownership with corporate legitimacy. He even had the Silver Slippers sign turned off because its blinking light irritated him. According to aides, he bought television stations to block content he disliked. Hughes controlled Vegas while refusing to be seen. Number 5. The billionaire who became a shadow. By the 1970s, Hughes transformed into a phantom. He lived in sealed hotel rooms, demanded that aides wear gloves, and issued typed memos instead of speaking. His fingernails reportedly grew over 2 inches, his hair hung unwashed, and he subsisted on chocolate bars, soup, and dozens of codeine injections. He had doctors on call 24/7, but ignored medical advice. Despite owning private fleets, casinos, and land across Nevada and California, Hughes refused to step outside. His mental health crumbled. Some say he had undiagnosed OCD and chronic pain from plane crashes. He ruled an empire, but lived like a prisoner. Number 6. A corpse on a jet, The shocking final flight. Howard Hughes died on April 5, 1976, aboard a plane en route from Acapulco to Houston. The body was skeletal, he weighed just 90 pounds, with needle marks, broken hypodermic needles embedded in his arms, and bedsores. The FBI had to identify him by fingerprints. Despite an estate worth over $2.5 billion, no will could be found. For a man obsessed with control, even his death was disorganized and grotesque. He left behind no spouse, no known children, and a house of cards waiting to collapse in court. Number 7. The Mormon Will, a gas station attendant's fortune? Just weeks after Hughes' death, a handwritten will surfaced in Salt Lake City, claiming Hughes left $156 million to a gas station worker named Melvin Dummer. Dummer said he once picked up a disoriented man in the desert, who claimed to be Hughes, and drove him to the Sands Hotel. The will also named Mormon churches, charities, and Hughes' staff as beneficiaries. Handwriting experts were divided. The courts eventually ruled the Mormon Will a forgery, but Dummer's story remained in the public eye, inspiring the 1980 film Melvin and Howard. Was he a liar, or did he encounter the real Hughes, lost in his own empire? Number 8. The Legal War, 600 claimants, zero peace. With no clear will, over 600 people claimed a piece of Hughes' estate. Some said they were illegitimate children, others former lovers, and still more claimed to be secret business partners. Litigation dragged on for over 3 decades, with courtrooms in 7 states battling over claims. Ultimately, the estate went largely to 22 cousins, while the rest was distributed to charities, lawyers, and tax authorities. One court official called it an estate made of fog and money. Hughes, who feared betrayal, left behind exactly that chaos. Number 9. Hughes' most lasting legacy, medicine, not machines. In 1953, Hughes quietly transferred all shares of Hughes Aircraft to a non-profit medical foundation, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, HHMI, to avoid capital gains taxes. At the time, it was a shell foundation with no labs and little public presence. After Hughes' death, HHMI sold Hughes Aircraft to General Motors in 1985 for $5.2 billion, making HHMI the wealthiest medical foundation in the U.S. It now funds thousands of scientists and Nobel laureates, especially in fields like neuroscience, genetics, and cell biology. As of 2025, HHMI's endowment exceeds $27 billion, even larger than the Gates Foundation for basic research. Though Hughes may have tried to disappear, his money continues to shape science and save lives. Was this his final act of redemption, or an accidental legacy built out of tax evasion? Number 10. Where did it all go? Howard Hughes was once richer than Rockefeller, Ford, and Carnegie. He owned airlines, casinos, movie studios, hotels, and huge swaths of real estate across Nevada, California, and Texas. Yet after his death, the empire fragmented. TWA, once his crown jewel, was sold. RKO was dismantled. His casinos changed hands. Art collections disappeared. His homes, like the Summit Ridge estate in Las Vegas, were left to decay or sold off. Much of his wealth vanished through legal fees, taxes, mismanagement, and liquidation. Today, all that remains is the Howard Hughes Corporation, a real estate developer, and the HHMI, a medical titan. Hughes' story is not just about wealth, it's about how a mind can bend an empire, and how paranoia can outlive genius. So tell us, did Hughes die a victim of his brilliance, or a prisoner of his own fortune?